Thank you all for being here tonight. It is January 27th, and this is our regular town council meeting. But before we start, I need to state that we have a quorum assembled so that we can invite in our Zoom members. And it looks to me like we have a quorum. So it looks like we have Mary Hanson here who is Zooming, and everyone else is here. Mary, Mary, I know you've done this before, but please state your reason for Zooming in.
Yes, I am in San Diego with family for my infant grandson's cancer treatment.
Thank you. And how's that coming along?
Coming along. We're about ready to start proton therapy soon. So it's very promising and a little scary.
Thank you. Our prayers are with you.
Thank you. And with you too, Barbara.
Okay, I'm asking for a motion to approve the request.
I'll make a motion to approve that Mary attends the meeting by Zoom.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, we'll take a vote on it. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Dr. Bill?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Mr. Bill?
Yes.
And Mayor says yes. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now that we are here, I'm calling us to order and roll call, even though we already know who's here. Please answer here. Marjorie? Here. Larry?
Here.
Dr. Bill?
Here.
Who are you? Steve?
Steve.
Miss Bill?
Here.
And Mary?
Here.
Thank you. And we also have on Zoom our town attorney, Andrea Erard. Thank you for being here. We also have our, pardon me if I do some brain burps and I've been a little bit busy. Michelle Hutton, our treasurer. Thank you.
Just state your name.
Just state your name.
Our news guy.
Easy for me.
That's right.
So we've got Roy and Garth and Martha. And if you don't know what they do, we'll fill you in later. Thank you.
Look on the website.
Yeah, look on the website. Thank you so much. All right, shall we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Anybody else? Motion to approve, second, okay. Ms. Bill,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Dr. Bill.
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
and Marjorie.
Yes.
And Mayor. Okay, we've approved it. Let's move on. How about the minutes of the January 13th?
Before we do anything with those minutes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect that Mr. Holberg was absent from last meeting due to medical reasons.
Yes, I've asked for that modification.
Okay,
One other modification.
one other one.
It was stated in here somewhere, I can't find it right now, about the Virginia Department of Health. Mandate is Virginia Department of Environmental Quality mandate,
DEQ.
DEQ.
Okay, thank you. All right, everyone accept the amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Yes, all right, we count that as our vote. Thank you, unanimous.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
this is a point. If I start to erupt in a coffee spell, it's not that I have COVID. I'm fighting a sinus infection.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
my mask on,
thank you.
tested this morning negative.
Yay.
I was trying to control it, but.
Well, we will arrest you if you don't
Hopefully
control
I
it.
do well.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to the reports.
So, me,
We didn't vote.
from January 13th.
Yes,
I'll make a motion to amend,
to accept this
to
amendment.
accept as, yes.
Second.
Second, okay. No discussion. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Dr. Bill?
Yes.
Mary? Oh, you're muted, but I saw her say yes. Okay,
Yes,
thank you, Steve,
Yes.
and Mr. Bill,
Yes.
and Mayor. Okay, that passes. Thank you. All right, report. Town administrator, please.
Okay. First off, on behalf of the staff of the town, we offer our prayers and thoughts to the mayor. I think most of y'all know by now that her husband Floyd is in the hospital and is in a coma, and they're treating him, and so we offer our condolences. So, and hopefully things are gonna pick up and move forward.
Thank you. Just a FYI, they put him in an ambulance 5:30 this evening and transported him to Williamsburg to do an EEG, and they'll return him back to Gloucester either tonight or tomorrow. So he is in the ICU on a ventilator and a feeding tube, and not going to go into all the details. Thank you so much, and thank everybody in town who assist him. Well wishes, thank you. Okay.
The new office move, and Tom, I saw you taking a photograph. This is kind of a historic moment.
Yes.
That this is gonna be the last town council meeting in these chambers. We're moving tomorrow and Monday, and the office will be closed. And actually, we've been moving for the last several days and taking stuff up there, but the movers are coming in to move the big stuff. And so hopefully Tuesday, we will be open for business in our new office area there at 390 Virginia Street. The DMV Select, the position for the DMV Select Clerk has been filled, and we're pleased we'll introduce her at the next meeting actually, but we have hired Mary Bell Kimball, who came on board with us Monday and has been working with Michelle and Martha and the DMV Select staff to finish up the setup process. And they will officially open on Monday, February 14th. And the week prior to that, we will begin advertising and accepting appointments and become operational the following week. So we're excited about that. The boat ramp, I know we've had some people really concerned about that. We had hoped that this would be done sooner. Docks of the Bay has brought their equipment into Urbanna Creek, and they will begin working on the extension of the boat ramp. They are waiting for all of the supplies and everything to come in. And so we talked to them the other day, and they're anticipating that they're going to begin work within the next week. Town marina upgrades. We have recommendations being drafted for remodeling of some of the slips at the town marina, and getting some prices on doing some floating finger piers that off. And so as soon as they supply that, we're hoping that we're going to make a presentation to council at the next meeting and see about moving forward with that. And just as an FYI, that project can be covered under what we call the big grant. So it's taken care of. The town the July 4th celebration. We've begun planning for the July 4th celebration. In all this cold and bad weather, we thought we would try to be optimistic and look forward to the summer. And we reached out to American Fireworks, who has been doing the fireworks display for the town for quite a few years. And they're going to be sending us a contract. Kevin Gentry has agreed to provide the music and the sound system as he's done in the past. And Urbanna Fire Department is planning on doing the food. So we're trying to move forward with a positive aspect of the summer. And it's Friday, yes, Friday, July 1st, and the rain date is July 5th. It's Tuesday. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Treasurer's report. Checking accounts grow a little bit with all the real estate and personal property taxes. So our general operating account is at $835,159.96. Our renter's deposit held the same as last month at $14,401.66. The net operating general account is at $820,530.42. The Truist Historic Trust is at $21,796.47. The pool replacement is at $36,762.79. The bank, the Primis Bank Water Fund Reserve is $113,910.53. The General Fund Reserve is $94,703.89. Our CARES Recovery Funds, $237,641.77. And even though it was the end of the year for the paper, when I produced this report, I did not have the year-end statement, so we need to just look at what we had the prior statement. Meals tax collected in December was $9,318.71, and the lodging tax was $1,215.60. As far as revenue, we did receive $30,200 on the requested distribution, and that is the 10,000 fire department, 10,000 library, and the rescue squad. Total of real estate for the year was $240,019.66. Last month, we did collect $115.06 in delinquent real estate. Personal property was $4,094.57, and the total for the year this, when this was produced was $8,488.38. The Oyster Festival, we collected $9,802.25 in meals tax, and I'm tracking down 7 vendors that still have not paid. Thank you. One question, when you were on the meals tax collected, I believe you said $9,318.71. My printed copy says 41 cents. Well, I spoke 41 cents. Thank you.
I have a question. That's all right. Michelle, percentage of real estate taxes collected, did we collect 95%? How are we doing as far as that? How much is that standing? I guess my question.
Off the top, I could answer, but it's only a few $1,000s. I mean, I can't give you an exact amount. Just a few thousand.
That's good.
The oldest account we have is 3 years in arrears.
You're gonna get 1 or 2 of them, but I mean, it
Right.
sounds like people pay the tax.
There was also a lot of refis, and with that came a lot of escrow.
What does that mean?
They refied their mortgages, because the interest rate plummeted.
Refinance.
So then, what happened is they ended up in an escrow. So the escrow companies are very quick to pay. So that's all, very positive for us, that we get the funds. And believe me, it was pages and pages of escrow this year.
We've got a lot of houses around this year. Oh, that's great.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Hey, Michelle, I don't know whether the increase in assessment stick.
It did for the personal property.
Mhm.
It hurt a lot of folks.
What
But
about-
yes, the increase in the personal property, there was definitely,
Bump.
a bump up.
What about real estate tax?
Well, they shouldn't have been.
Shouldn't have been,
That does, we've got, that's the other thing I wanna,
when's that gonna hit?
well, it's supposed to
County.
this year,
This year.
but I want the finance committee to understand, they're gonna have to take a look at that.
Yeah, because we recalibrate typically.
Yeah, I mean, values went up, and if we leave it at the same,
Right.
next December, you're gonna have a flock of people in here saying, what's going on? To raise our taxes. And
That's why I raised this point.
And also, the finance committee needs to talk about pennies. What is a penny on tax? I think it's 12,000, what it used to be. But you all need to get on that because, we don't want to have a whole lot of mad taxpayers.
When we
Raising cane.
when we get ready to pass the budget, that's gonna be
Yeah.
issues that we address.
Thank you. Any other comments about treasurer's report?
I'd just like to add that we were talking the other day and know that we need to get busy on the upcoming budget, 22-23 budget, and also doing some amendments to the current budget. So
Thank you. Okay. Let's see, where are we now? We're at the, do we have a site?
Well, finance,
Uh-huh.
the thing to say about the finance is that we have started talking about developing the next budget for the next fiscal year. Because the outline needs to be out there by March, and we have to have it done and approved by the end of June. So it's in the thought process currently. And the things that Larry's concerned about with respect to tax rates and real estate taxes in town is certainly on the docket for consideration. And that sort of blends into, because it's, once again, the finance committee and the pool committee are sort of blended here. In the packet, I have what I'm trying to do here, and I guess the backstory is when we sent out that water survey, one question was on there, and that was, do you feel a pool is important for this town? It's always been part of the town, and it was what, 81%, Bill, said it was important. Now, I know from talking to people, there are some people in town that are of the feeling that because taxes always supported the pool before, that taxes will be able to build a new pool and support the new pool, and that's no longer the case with the way things, with the current cost of things and what it's going to take to put a pool in the ground. That being said, what I did working with looking at Ashland and Essex County and the people up at Warsaw, Pleasant Valley, and Deltaville was try to develop a plan for a fee structure that takes into consideration benefits to residents of Urbanna just because they're residents and because of tax support, but does provide for a better stream of income to support the cost of construction as well as the support for the pool going forward. Maintenance is one of those things that with the pool that we have, we didn't do a good job over the years of maintaining it, and that allowed caulking to deteriorate and water to get behind the pool and a lot of other things that developed with separation of piping and problems that the pool was ready to go. Don't mistake that, but we probably could have squeezed a little more time out if we had been more diligent 25, 30, 40 years ago in terms of how it was maintained. So that being said, I put in a packet of suggestions of fee structures, and none of this is set in stone, but it's the thought process going forward is sort of like with water, where you pay a minimum charge in your water, for the ability to go to the faucet anytime and turn it on. And at least once a year, somebody says, I'm in Florida 4 months of the year. Why do I have to pay the minimum when I'm in Florida? And it's because we need to have a certain amount of cash flow coming into the water system to maintain the piping and make sure that when you want water, it's there. And so that's the process and the thought process we're going to need to adopt for the pool going forward. To that end, where's the money going to come from? We've got CARES money we can spend. I know Steve and I have talked about the Tabor Fund, and I pulled up the language of the Tabor Fund because Dr. Tabor, when he established it, said that from time to time that we're supposed to determine and establish and maintain for the relief of poverty, advancement of education, promotion of health, and any other purposes, the accomplishment of which will be beneficial to the community that are exempt from inheritance or transfer taxes under the laws of the state of Virginia, yada, yada, yada. And then it goes on further that to the benefit, I'm sort of paraphrasing some of this, of the condition of ordered societies such as parks, recreation centers, hospitals, or literary and educational institutions. And the main, there was something in here for recreation centers, yes. So that being said, we can, at a minimum, use income generated from the Tabor Fund to help mitigate some of the financing costs. And the Finance Committee is going to have to look at what the cut point is as to how much money we get, whether we take any principal or we use it all to generate income to cover the note. And that's a decision that has to be made. In the specifics, just to give people a relative idea of what other things are out there. It hasn't happened recently that I can remember, but for a while, there were some people that were harping on Warsaw. That's why I picked Pleasant Valley. And just to show you, they've got a private association that runs the pool up there. A family membership for them is $600. There are some
That's for everybody. That's part of the association,
right.
regardless of their geographic.
They have a special thing in here that says active duty and first responders. So if you're, military or something like that, you're going to get a cut. And then they have other things in there, but they also have something that I find interesting, and I sort of stole this in this list. They have a section that is called Friends of the Pool. And in Pleasant Valley, for $250, you get 8 pool visits, which, and that's, I mean, that's a lot per visit, obviously, but the thought there is, and that's where I want to get this out there, because we all know that there are some people that have trouble making ends meet in this town, and there's some people that have less of a struggle. And for the people that have less of a struggle, it would be for the benefit, sort of, invoking Dr. Tabor, that for those people that can maybe pay a little bit more, can be a friend of the pool and augment their taxes so that they get a couple of extra. Where what I proposed is, if you are living in town, you will get, and I'm just making this number up, I'm not lying to you there, 5 family visits to the pool just as a right for being a resident of Urbanna, which wouldn't go to people outside the town, okay? If you want a family membership, what I proposed was an individual membership would be $100 a summer, a family membership, $200 a summer. If you needed extra passes, it would be like $3 or $5 per person, or something that's not on the sheet that I added in thinking, you could have a family pass. So if you're in town for, let's say, $12, you can buy a family pass, and up to 6 people can go on a family pass. But we're going to need to find ways to generate ongoing income to support this pool and to handle the note. Out of town, it would be more. The out of town fees will be competitive with Delta. They're not going to be as high as Pleasant Valley, but then that gets us into a spot where somebody living in Waterview might come to this pool for the same price as going all the way down to Deltaville, because that's the competitor. We're still, it's not looking good, but we're still hoping that maybe the county will chip in for something in terms of building the pool or maintenance of the pool, in which case it would have to be worked out that maybe the county has access at the same rates as in town, but the way it is now, they're set outside, okay? And the family pass would be also a little bit higher. Then when it comes to other sources, and this is where I think going forward, the pool committee should generate more energy towards funding, fundraising, those kinds of things. But we have to establish when the pool gets built, party rates on an hourly basis. Again, we're going to need to be competitive with some of the people around us. Whether we want to have weekend memberships so that people that have part-time homes here, they may not buy a full family membership, but for 50% they can be there on Saturdays and Sundays, and it costs them less. We can sell bricks in the paving like they do at the Gloucester Matthews Humane Society. When they get donations, they buy a brick and it goes in the walkway, so your name is there, or a plaque of donations. These are all things that we need to be considering, but I'm hoping by putting this thought process out there that, you know, I'm sort of pleading, give me some feedback, you know, b.goldsmith@urbana.va.gov, and say, you know, you're full of crap, this is never going to work, you know, stop this, or, you know, have you thought about doing something else? Another idea is in there, and there's a whole list here, and Tom, if you don't have it, I'm going to make sure you got all this. And maybe give you the baseline thing, because Martha was kind enough to condense some of this stuff. But to offer charter memberships, where for some of the people around here that have a little more money, you can have a membership to the pool for the life of the pool attached to your property. So my proposal was for $12,000 in town and $15,000 out of town. So maybe some of the people up on Red Hill or up in Remlick, they pay $15,000 up front in Remlick, and they don't have annual dues. They get a membership, but it provides a lot of seed money up front. Now that, you know, obviously it's a lot of money on one hand. You run the risk, as Bill pointed out, that you may not get annual memberships from those people. But the truth is, if somehow, in the scheme of things, we were able to sell, 50 charter memberships, then we'd end up paying for the pool and have an endowment, so it would be less important, you know? So there are different things that are out there, and I'm not looking for feedback specifically. I guess you could get up in public comment and say something. But I'm hoping that Tom puts this out in the paper so that people can let us know how you feel about this stuff. What I can tell you is, just to reiterate, we're going to be able to handle a good portion of the note with the tax base that we had before, I think, but we're not going to be able to build the pool, and we're not going to be able to completely maintain it the way it needs to be maintained without having other input. And so we're early in the process. We're in the design process. We've got a lot of things figured out, but we need to really move on trying to get a body of cash through donations, these other ideas, so that we can start paying the bills when we start putting shovels in the ground.
Bill, do you have an actual, I think we've been talking about a vehicle into which people could make donations.
Well,
That would be separate
yeah,
from the town,
right,
that
and
would allow people the opportunity to write off contributions, because that's been some people have expressed that they want to make a direct gift.
and that's all, yes. And because the pool fund, Michelle and I were just talking about that today, to establish simply like on the pool fund, have that be an escrow account where we track who gave what. And the same thing would be if we decide to institute things like charter memberships, we can track what those things are, what property it's attached to, so that it can be logged going forward.
Because we've had people actually donate directly to the town. That's where the $36,000 And pool fund reserve is come from.
Right.
So one individual gave $36,000.
There's another thing to consider, and that is, we have already looked at this with the Friends of Urbana committee, and they have agreed basically, because they have a 501c3.
Yeah.
They have agreed to basically be our banker here, so that when people want to make a donation, they want to make it tax-free. Instead of giving it directly to the town, they give it to the Friends of Urbana, and they will manage that for us. So that's a win-win.
Now, there, in my understanding, there would be no tax benefit of one over the other to the donor. In other words, they give money to the town, that's tax-free, right? Okay,
I
so-
can't answer that.
Yeah,
yet.
so, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the
Friends of Urbana, Friends of Urbana is a C3 organization,
501c3, right?
so you can write that off as a donation.
Yeah.
You can't write off a donation to the town.
I'm not sure how that fellow handled it. He gave us the $36,000.
Well,
I
that
think
was,
it was a gift out of an estate, that's.
and that was in the
That
past,
was a request.
and things may have changed a bit.
So the public knows this. Well, this tool is, so the public is aware of this. And Bill, I don't think you're wrong in saying that maybe we didn't do exactly what we were supposed to do over the years as far as maintaining. But it was it's 52 years old.
Well, yeah, and that's what I said, it's not like it just, it had a very good, useful life, and it wouldn't have been around that much longer. And some of the things that are deficiencies, like the depth of the shallow end and the coving of the deep end, those are all things that are structural that would never, that's not a maintenance issue, that's a construction issue.
But it was state of the art.
Yes.
So we did something special. Council did something special a long time ago, and we need to do something special now.
And that's when all these people up here didn't have gray hair.
Well said, for sure.
Some of us even had it. So anyhow, that's about, I'm putting this out here to try to get some feedback as to what people think about this, and to try to get some other constructive ideas as to what's going on. In terms of structure, Steve, you and I should, sit down and talk about how we can
Yeah.
structure this so that it's.
I'm running a little bit late. I meant to meet with you earlier, but Mother Nature had a.
No,
side-
I get it.
Had other plans.
And it's not time critical right now, but it's time important.
Oh, yeah.
It's sneaking up on us. Wow.
Okay,
Really good report.
I'm done.
You're done. Yay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Think about. Okay, water committee.
Well, as you know, Roy and Martha and Garth are all working diligently on the USDA loan package. I saw what Martha put together. It looked really great, just at a glance. Other than that, from the water committee report from the work session, work assignment has been sent to AH Environmental. We did receive the infrastructure water system upgrade estimates from them in a 5-phase upgrade. The water committee has reviewed that. We found it to be very well put together, and I've asked them to go ahead and finalize it, send it, and when we get it, we'll distribute it to town council. Now it has numbers, cost estimates, which can be made public right away. The big thing is, this was a meeting put together with Roy Garth, myself, David Lehman, the Emergency Services Coordinator, and Ray Birch. We went through everything to bring our water service up to current standards. I can't believe
That's the way I am.
and to bring our fire suppression system up to current standards. Now, the overall, it's quite extensive. There's 10 additional fire hydrants, 2 relocations, fire hydrants, an increase of water piping size. so we could adequately fight those fires. The total, I'll say, this is a roundabout for all 5 phases, it's close to $7 million,
Whoa.
Wow.
okay? And that's because nothing's really been done since 1963, 65,
Wow.
in there. So, you know, when you have you need a 10-inch pipe to get enough water to fight a fire, and you have a 6-inch pipe there now, you got to replace the pipe. And that's cleaned down Virginia Street, Cross Street, our major businesses here on Virginia Street. We don't have enough water really to fight a fire, and those businesses are all connected. So that's what they put together. Now I have sent them another, or the water committee has sent them another work assignment. They have offered to help find funding and apply for that funding. So I've got a work assignment asking them for an estimate on how much it'll cost for them to do that. Because as we know already with the USDA, boy, there's a lot of stuff to go through.
Yeah.
And we're basically, we don't know what we don't know. We need the professionals to take care of it. And it'll be well worth the cost when they send us that estimate on finding us the funding to get this taken care of.
Because we don't know all the answers, we don't even know all the questions.
Well,
Thank you.
I do know one thing, don't get the cart for the horse. You gotta get the pipe in the ground before you put the fire hydrants in.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, Larry, we could just stick
You
them up
haven't
there
done
for
that.
tomorrow.
Somebody else did.
We'll put them up there for the dogs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
It could be
that.
like some of the fire hydrants that are there, but they don't have enough water to supply them, so they're not useful. You can put them in, not have pipes going to them.
Our dogs are watering, just trying to fill them up. Okay. Is that it, Bill?
That's it.
Thank
I've got a question, Bill. When you say find funds, does that mean find financing sources or?
Grants and
Grant
money. Grants and financing.
Find a way to pay for them.
They're gonna find us some funds.
$7 million is a lot of money.
Age Environmental does a lot of federal work, so they're really keyed in to federal funds and grants and stuff, so.
Very
But
good.
we can also do this in phases, which might.
Yes, that's why we broke it down in phases.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to Planning Commission. Mary, you have something?
I do, and I'm sorry that I didn't have a chance to type it up, but I will this weekend, and so you've got it for the record. The Planning Commission met on January 18th at the regular time, 7 p.m. We worked for a good 2 hours, almost 2.25 hours. Present, we had everyone except for one member, Alana Courtney. And our agenda was to continue to work on the comprehensive plan update that Hank and Roy have been working on. We spent almost an hour talking about things related to this. There were a lot of issues related to other matters associated with the comprehensive plan, including updating the maps. There are quite a few maps in the comprehensive plan that need to be updated. And the planning area for the update of the town boundaries was also something that we discussed quite a bit. Garth and Roy were present, as well as Martha Rodenberg, because we had so much to talk about. And there are many of these things that, again, this is something that is supposed to be by law updated every 2 years, and it has not been updated since 2010. So there are many pages of demographic information that needs to be updated in the plan. And in order to coordinate all of that, we talked a little bit about having piecemealing it and having so-and-so do X part of it and so-and-so do another part of it. And I feel strongly that it's very important that it be done by a single source so that it's all coordinated, so they're all using the same source material, so that it is a good, valid plan and it isn't just piecemeal, even though it's wonderful that the Planning Commission members are so dedicated that they were willing to think about that. So part of what we talked about is, I believe that Garth and Roy have a contact with the Chesapeake Bay, our Chesapeake Bay liaison person, who is going to be able to very helpfully update parts of the plan, not the demographic parts, but the parts that are specific to the Chesapeake Bay Act. So that's one piece that we've identified a source to help do that and to do it well, because what's in there now is not correct, apparently. Then the plan for updating all of the pages and pages of demographic information and the maps is something that I think Hank Dutton is going to look more at the maps and see which maps there are, which maps need to be updated. We'll tackle that in February at our Planning Commission meeting. So at least we have those identified. And the town staff has taken on the promise to have a draft. It won't be complete, but to have a draft, a working draft of the update for us by approximately April 1st. So I think that's a big job, really, really big job. Now, why do we care about this? Well, there are so many things. A, it's a legal mandate, and B, there are many things that pertain to funding and finding funding sources and proving what we need and what our town boundaries are. And I mean, there are all kinds of things associated with having a comprehensive plan, which we, again, are required to do by law. Let me see. The other things that were on our agenda, we were not able to spend as much time on. We did talk about, let's see. We did talk about the dock plan a little bit that is going to surface at the next town council meeting. One of the questions that arose in the discussion on the dock plan was, again, the issue that is really not related specifically to the dock plan, but of the need for restroom facilities for the public. Right now, there is one porta potty, and boy, I don't know if you've been in it, but it's not pleasant. And there is one place at the town marina for the entire visiting town public to our town to use. My question is, would big grant funds cover some kind of additional facilities or upgrade to restroom facilities at the marina area? Because it's a general need that we have anyway. I don't know if that's something that any of you can answer tonight, whether that's even a possibility. But if that question could be answered, it would be very helpful to the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
Okay, that was the question. All right. Then the other thing that we worked on is Don Dreyer, who is a member of the Planning Commission, was working in concert with John and Christy Anzavino and Sue Warner, who have done a very extensive mapping of the street signs in Urbanna that so many people wish to be replaced. And they're going to, Don is going to return with some clarification on estimated costs and that sort of thing for the replacement of street signs, the poles, the hardware, the, you know, all of that sort of thing. That may be something that the Planning Commission will raise as a budget issue for next year. I don't know yet. I'm not absolutely certain. Finally, the other thing that we spent a considerable amount of time on is, again, I mentioned it, I think, at our last meeting, that the Planning Commission would like to work with town staff and with town council, and we would sponsor an economic development event in theoretically in May. I have been tasked with putting together the project plan for that, which I'm going to work on this weekend, putting together that project plan. Our plan is to do a lot of interviewing of people in adjacent localities who have done a lot to economically develop their towns in the last year and a half, 2 years, and to find out what their stories are, what their funding sources were, what worked, what didn't work, all of that sort of thing. And to use that again to then construct an event to invite interested business owners, interested organizations, the Oyster Festival, the UBA, you know, whoever it might be, so that hopefully we can move in the direction of planning an agenda for economic development for, say, the next 5 years. So we spent a great deal of time on that. There was a lot of energy, a great deal of interest in being able to do that. And Gary Lister is going to be working very much with me on that effort. So that is the Planning Commission report. It was a busy meeting, and I want to thank Garth and Roy and Martha, for being there with us this last week.
Thank you. Garth, were you gonna add something?
I was just gonna say, it's that the big grant could, help pay for the bathrooms as long as they're part of the marina.
What does part of the marina mean? On the marina property, or does it, how is that defined?
The marina building, the docking, part of
Okay.
the marina complex. If they get
Okay.
away from there, then they will not cover.
I think we ought to think about it because it is something that we do not have in our town for the public. And I know it requires maintenance and all kinds of things, but it's a need.
Some of
Thank
us
you, Garth.
bring that up every year for years.
Yeah.
Mary, as far as the signage, we had tasked Kevin with, and he met with somebody last week to look at replacing the signage and maybe updating it. So maybe
Good.
they can get together and work on this together instead of duplicating efforts.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I will mention that to Don Dreyer and the Enzavinos and Sue Warner. They've done, I think they have all the GPS coordinates mapped for where the signs are. And I'm sure they would be thrilled to have someone working on the signage and would be happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Good.
Why are we replacing the street signs?
Well, because there's a lot of missing, and those hanging signs that are swinging, they're antiquated, they're hard to maintain, and they're not cost effective.
And they're not reflective, so you can't see them at night well.
That's a good reason.
Okay.
The rest of it is fixable.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't see it, that's a problem.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us up to the public comment period. Did we have anyone sign up? Nobody signed up. Nobody signed up? Okay, well, Julie wants to speak.
I'd just like to ask a question. Your planning committee, they had a couple months ago with four-way stop signs. Did they ever follow up on none of this stuff that they bring up?
Oh, yes. That is actually something that we have tried to follow up on at every single meeting that we've had. I know that VDOT, it's a VDOT issue, and that we are waiting for an engineer to come out from VDOT. Who knows when that will be? I know that they've been requested several times. It hasn't happened yet. And part of the problem apparently is that VDOT's definition of what qualifies for a four-way stop has partly to do with the designation of the artery that's coming into the intersection. They're supposed to be same type arteries. So in other words, there are first, primary, secondary, tertiary. That intersection has a mix, and apparently VDOT doesn't like that. And so that is not typically where they do four-way stops, but we are still grinding away on it. I don't know what more to say.
The speed limit is still 25 miles an hour, primary or secondary.
Yes, it is.
I don't,
We're dealing with government bureaucracy here.
we are.
We're not talking about the town government. We're talking about the state
This
government.
isn't a new issue. When
Yeah.
I was at the sheriff's office, we were dealing with that. We met with VDOT. And the bottom line is they look at those things and they look at the number of accidents. Maybe we need to go ahead and have some accidents there.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Because
Billy, if you really
they-
want to, you
that's
can
what
make
they
it
go by.
golf cart accidents too.
And so, it's not a new issue, but we're dealing with it and trying to, I think, Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we decided we were gonna reach out to Keith Hodges and see if he can
Yes,
generate
that's
some
right.
energy to get VDOT involved.
Yes, and Delegate Hodges has been a great asset for us on other matters, so we can try.
Or we could always get the ones that light up on both sides across. The little red, the red lights that go on the stop signs.
Oh, the
that's
kind of
stop,
flashing, the
stop.
flashing lighted ones.
so that
Yeah.
they know they need to stop, because it says, the sign says traffic at cross does not stop, so
I was
you're
gonna say
on
that-
cross,
that-
so you think you don't have to stop, even though the stop sign.
Well,
That's the
signage
first thing
is
you should do, is
confusing.
the sign that says cross traffic doesn't
Doesn't
stop when you're
stop.
on cross.
Across the street.
Well, interestingly, I know there are a number of people who have suggested that the town take matters into their own hands and put stop signs up there and treat it as a four-way stop and see what VDOT does. I'm not sure that that's the best thing to do. I think Andrea is probably sitting over there going, "Oh, I hope that was a joke."
I will
But
say that
anyway,
As much as they pay attention to us, they probably would never even notice. So,
they might not, unless there was a liability issue that came out of it because something happened.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah. Thank you,
So-
though, for asking for an update.
thank you. Okay, and we were been a little bit out of our rules there, but thank you anyway. That was important that you bring that up. Just want to remind everybody in the future, when we do have public comments, there is a sign-up sheet and you are supposed to sign up to have public comments. So- Or ask, anyway, okay?
I noted you spoke, so.
Yeah.
We're
that's good.
official now.
So thank you. And also, we would ask that you come up and say who you are, make sure that we get you recorded, because Martha has a heck of a time taking her notes when they don't turn up on the recording. Okay, but thank you very much. Now, is there any kind of comments or public response to the public comments? I think you've already had it, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's close. Thank you very much. Okay, any old business? USDA loan. Ah, okay. USDA loan. Who's going to report on that?
There's a resolution in your packet that needs to be approved. A motion could just be, I move to approve the resolution as presented. There's also a legal services agreement that is required by the USDA. I was required to put in a maximum amount, and so I did that. And Roy, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add.
I'll read the motion if you'd like. Motion requested is to approve the resolution as presented, authorizing and providing for the, incurrence and indebtedness for the purpose of providing a portion of the cost of acquiring, constructing, enlarging, improving, and/or extending its public water system by construction of a new well and associated pumping and security equipment.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
So I have a question. So in the context of this loan for $1,066,000, who has done a study to understand that we can afford to pay this with the water funds that we currently bring? What was the conclusion?
The change in the water, I can't remember what the, off the top of my head, what the debt service is gonna be. It's at 1.75%. And when we raised the.
Over 50 years, right?
40
40 years?
When we raised the water rates, we raised them so that we would have enough money to service that debt, as well as have money that would be for maintenance issues as well.
If I remember correctly, I think Garrett came across an email saying our debt service would be around $3,300 a month. And I'm just pulling
Okay.
that number out, but that's what I remember reading.
Yeah, I think that's right on. It was
Yeah.
like $36,000 a year.
Yeah.
That we were gonna be paying.
And that money is in the water budget.
Okay,
Not in the general fund.
so we've got kind of a benchmark in terms of, when we talk about borrowing $7 million, that gives a little perspective.
Oh, yeah.
7 times 330,000 would be the debt service for the additional water improvements.
Sometimes 36,000.
Yes,
Yeah,
7 times
yeah,
36,000.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you did all 5 days.
You did all 5 days.
Right.
Thank you.
If I could add, I believe that the USDA looks at the financial stability of the town and, you know, the monetary ability or the financial ability of the town ultimately to successfully pay back all amounts owed.
Right, and in the meetings that we had with Tara Delaney, she commented several times about how good the water fund was, what the, how solid it was and its ability to pay and how the rates were structured and our overhead.
Okay, that's good. Good follow-up.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see, we had a motion hanging, did we not? Yes. And it has been seconded.
Bill seconded.
I second.
Yes, so let's have a vote. Do we accept the motion? Marjorie? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes,
Mayor also votes. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay,
That was just on the loan resolution. That wasn't on the.
legal services.
Legal services.
All right, let's do the legal services.
And the motion requested is to approve the legal services agreement as presented between the town of Urbana and Andrea Arard.
So moved.
Okay, made and seconded. Everybody okay? All right, let's do a vote. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bill? Mary?
yes.
Mary?
Holy.
And Mayor. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Good question on our old business. How are we doing on the audits?
Yeah, I wonder too.
With the audit drafts sent back, and we're waiting for the final one.
All right,
And they should be done within the next couple weeks.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Quick
Okay.
question, or
Go ahead.
not a question. But in your move, Garth, and because this may be a council decision, but this portrait ought to go to the new building. It ought to hang on the wall, I think, over time, over where we're just like it is now. I don't have a great deal to say about the rest of the stuff, but you might consider taking some of it with you. Just a comment on this bill. I really don't know the history, total history of this building, but I know this upstairs was built as a silent film movie, commercial silent film movie.
Uh-huh.
I know our first water system, and think about this now, that went back to the 1920s. Urbanna was so far ahead of its time when it came to that type of thing. But it wasn't very, my grandmother told me that when they first did it, they had to keep the well, because it was only turned on a certain time of the day. So it's like 2 or 3 hours that we got water. And then the rest of the time, we had to go in and get it from the well. But the first electric system, payment and all that was in this building. There was a print shop for years. You all remember that.
now we have one town.
But it's done its job. It's old,
Mhm.
very now, but it's, I don't want it to go away without somebody at least commenting on it.
Thank you, Larry. And I just want to add something about this painting. I think I had served 3 terms on town council before anyone told me who that was. That's Dr. Tabor.
So we'll put his name.
It is on there.
It's on
It's on there in a little slide.
Maybe
Yeah, you
large.
gotta get right up on it to read it.
Maybe large.
Maybe large. Okay, so thank you, Larry. New business? Don't hear anything on new business. Any announcements?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, let's take a vote. Marjorie?
Absolutely.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Steve?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Mayor? Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. See you next time in the new chamber.
No.
There we go, 1 hour.